Nobody gets rich from nothing by accident. They follow a sequence, whether they can name it or not, and the people who stay poor are usually missing one specific step in that sequence, not all 7. You have almost certainly met someone who works harder than anyone else you know and still has nothing to show for a decade of it. They are not failing at effort. They are failing at sequence, repeating a step they have already mastered instead of advancing to the one still waiting for them, and mistaking the exhaustion of hard work for the compounding that only comes from doing the steps in their intended order. Machiavelli never believed fortune favored the lucky. He believed fortune favored the prepared, and preparation is simply a sequence executed in the right order at the right time without skipping ahead. This is not a motivational list of parallel habits you can pick and choose from. This is a framework, and frameworks only work when you run them in order, because each step manufactures the exact resource the next step requires. Think of it less like a checklist and more like a chain, where every link is forged from the metal produced by the link before it. Try to forge the 4th link without the metal the first 3 were supposed to produce, and you are not ahead of schedule. You are simply building with nothing, which was the exact problem you were trying to escape in the first place. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme, and it makes no promise about speed. It makes a much narrower promise. Skip a step, and the whole structure above it collapses back down to nothing, no matter how hard you work on the steps that come after it. Most people who fail at building wealth from nothing are not lazy and are not unintelligent. They are simply working furiously on a step their situation does not actually call for yet, polishing a skill at step 3 while step 1 has never actually been completed, or chasing access at step 4 while nothing at step 2 has ever been reinvested. Effort misapplied to the wrong step in the sequence produces the exhausting feeling of working hard without the compounding that real progress should generate. 7 steps. Follow them out of order, and you will work exactly as hard for a fraction of the result. Step 1. Sell something before you own anything. Most people wait until they feel ready, credentialed, or capitalized before they attempt their first sale. This is backward. The first dollar earned from nothing does not come from an asset you already own. It comes from a skill, a service, or an hour of effort someone else is willing to pay for today, with no capital required on your end at all. Picture 2 people who each start with exactly nothing. One spends a year preparing, studying, building a plan they consider polished enough to finally launch. The other sells something crude and imperfect within the first week, a skill, a favor, a small service nobody else wanted to be bothered doing. A year later, the second person has completed dozens of real transactions, learned what the market actually pays for, and quietly built the first sliver of capital the first person is still preparing to earn. Selling something, anything, before you own anything is not a shortcut. It is the only entry point that does not require capital you do not have yet. The preparer is not wrong that preparation has value. They are wrong about the order. Real, useful preparation comes from studying actual transactions, actual rejections, and actual feedback, none of which exist yet for someone who has not sold anything. A year of imagined preparation teaches far less than a single real, awkward, imperfect sale, because the market itself is a far more precise teacher than any plan drafted in its absence. The market does not care how prepared you feel. It only cares whether you produced something worth exchanging, and that exchange, however small, is the only thing capable of turning nothing into something. Ask yourself honestly what you have actually sold to a real stranger for real money in the last 30 days. If the honest answer is nothing, you are not one step behind in this framework. You have not yet taken the first one, no matter how much preparation, research, or planning has filled that same 30 days instead. Step 2. Reinvest before you reward yourself. The first money earned from nothing is the most dangerous money you will ever hold, because it is also the first money you will ever be tempted to spend on yourself as proof that the work was worth it. Reinvesting it instead, before a single dollar of it touches your own comfort, is what separates a first sale from the beginning of an actual framework. Consider two people who each earn the same modest amount from their first successful sale. One spends it immediately on something that makes the achievement feel real, a small reward, a celebration, a symbol of progress. The other reinvests every dollar back into whatever produced it in the first place: tools, materials, a slightly larger version of the same service. A year later, the first person has a pleasant memory and an empty account. The second person has a small but functioning system that keeps generating more than the original dollar ever could have alone. The reward was never wrong. The timing of it was. Neither person is undisciplined in the ordinary sense. Both worked for the money. The difference is entirely about sequencing. One treated the first dollar as a finish line worth celebrating. The other treated it as raw material for a machine that had not been built yet. Only one of those two framings produces a second dollar without repeating the exact same effort required to produce the first. This step is uncomfortable precisely because it delays a psychological payoff you have earned and technically could take. Discipline here is not about denying yourself forever. It is about understanding that the version of you 1 year from now is a direct function of what the version of you today chose to do with the very first proof that the sequence works. Machiavelli understood that a prince who spent his treasury celebrating an early victory rarely had the resources left to secure the larger campaign that victory was supposed to fund. The same law governs a first sale. Celebrating it fully spends the exact resource that was meant to purchase the next one. Step 3. Trade your time for leverage, not for wages. Once reinvestment produces a small working system, the next trap is mistaking a slightly better wage for actual progress. A wage, no matter how generous, is still time sold 1 hour at a time, and it caps out the moment you run out of hours to sell. Leverage is different. It is anything that keeps producing value for you after the specific hour you spent building it has already ended. Two people reach this stage with the same small system already running. One takes a better paying job using the skill that system taught them, trading their improved hours for an improved wage. The other uses those same improved hours to build something that will keep producing without them personally showing up to every transaction. A process, a piece of content, a relationship that generates repeat business without repeat effort. Years later, the first person is still capped by the number of hours in their week, however well compensated each one has become. The second person's income has quietly detached from their calendar entirely. The better wage is not a mistake. It is simply the ceiling of an entirely different game, one that was never going to produce the outcome this framework is built around. A wage, however large, is still priced by the hour, and an hour is the one resource that can never be manufactured in greater supply, no matter how much money accumulates around it. This is the step where most people plateau permanently, not because they lack ambition, but because a better wage feels like undeniable progress in the moment it arrives, and leverage's payoff is invisible for far too long before it finally shows up. The uncomfortable test here is simple. Ask whether your income last month required your personal, hourly presence to arrive at all. If every dollar still needed you physically showing up to produce it, the wage has improved, but the underlying structure has not changed, and the ceiling that comes with trading hours for money is still exactly where it always was. Leverage takes many forms, and none of them require inventing something entirely new. A written process someone else can follow without you is leverage. A piece of content that keeps working while you sleep is leverage. A relationship that refers new business without your involvement is leverage. The common thread across all of them is simple. They were built once, at a specific cost in time, and they keep paying that cost back indefinitely afterward, which no wage, however generous, has ever been able to do. Step 4. Attach yourself to rooms where money already moves. Wealth does not distribute itself evenly across every room in the world. It concentrates in specific rooms, specific circles, specific conversations, and proximity to those rooms is worth more at this stage than almost any additional skill you could still be developing in isolation. Picture two people with identical skill and identical leverage already built. One continues refining their craft alone, assuming quality alone will eventually be noticed and rewarded appropriately. The other deliberately seeks proximity to the rooms where deals, capital, and opportunity are already concentrated, even before they feel fully qualified to be standing in them. The isolated craftsman waits, sometimes for years, to be discovered. The one who sought proximity gets pulled into opportunities the isolated craftsman never even learns existed, simply because opportunity flows through rooms, not through solitary excellence. Quality is a precondition for this step, not a substitute for it. Nobody is arguing that proximity rescues weak work. The argument is narrower and more uncomfortable. Excellent work, kept invisible to the rooms that could actually use it, produces exactly the same result as mediocre work. Nothing, indefinitely, no matter how genuinely good the underlying craft actually is. Machiavelli understood that access to the prince's court mattered as much as any individual talent a courtier possessed. The modern version of this is identical. Skill without proximity to where money actually moves is a candle burning alone in a room nobody else ever enters. This does not mean flattery or empty networking, both of which Machiavelli would have recognized instantly as weak, easily seen through substitutes for real value. It means deliberately positioning your genuine skill where it can actually be seen and used by people already positioned to pay for it at scale, rather than trusting that scale to eventually find you on its own. Rooms with money in them are rarely hidden as thoroughly as people assume. Most of them are simply overlooked by people too focused on refining their craft in private to notice that a specific room, event, platform, or relationship already exists, where exactly the right people are already gathered, waiting for someone to bring them something worth paying for. Step 5. Convert small proof into larger access. Once you are physically or socially closer to where money moves, the next currency that matters is not your skill in the abstract. It is the specific, demonstrable proof that you have already done the smaller version of what someone in that room needs done at a larger scale. Two people stand at the threshold of the same larger opportunity. One arrives with claims about their potential, their ambition, their theoretical capability. The other arrives with a small but real, already completed proof of the exact outcome being asked for, scaled down but unmistakably real. The person with potential is asked to wait and prove themselves first. The person with proof is handed the larger opportunity immediately because the room has already seen the smaller version work and is simply extending the same bet at a bigger size. Proof does not need to be impressive at this stage. It only needs to be real, specific, and already completed. This is why the earlier steps in this framework were never just character-building exercises. Every small sale, every reinvested dollar, every hour converted into leverage was quietly manufacturing the specific proof this step now spends. Arrive here without having done any of that, and there is nothing left to convert into access, no matter how convincingly you can describe what you would do if given the chance. This is why Step 1's uncomfortable first sale was never optional. Every larger door in this framework opens specifically because of proof accumulated at a smaller scale first. And there is no shortcut that skips directly to being trusted with more before you have been trusted with a little. Most people at this stage make the mistake of presenting their potential more confidently than their proof, assuming confidence itself is persuasive. Rooms with real money in them have seen confident potential fail more times than they can count. What they have far more rarely seen, and what they will actually act on, is a small, completed, unglamorous proof that the exact thing being proposed already worked once, even in miniature. Step 6. Multiply what already works. Do not start over. At this stage, the single most common and most expensive mistake is boredom disguised as ambition. A system is finally producing real, growing results, and the temptation to abandon it for an exciting new idea, a fresh start, a different arena entirely, becomes almost irresistible precisely because the current system now feels routine rather than novel. Consider two people whose original small system has grown into something genuinely productive. One, restless for something new, starts over in a completely different direction, discarding years of accumulated proof, relationships, and momentum in exchange for the excitement of a blank page. The other resists the boredom and instead asks a narrower, more disciplined question. What would it take to do more of exactly this at a larger scale, with the trust and proof already earned? The one who started over is now, once again, standing at step one, however experienced they otherwise are. The one who multiplied what already worked is compounding on a foundation that took years to build. None of the accumulated proof, relationships, or trust from the original system transfer automatically to a brand new direction. Starting over is not neutral. It is a full reset of everything steps 1 through 5 were built to accumulate, and very few people account for that real, specific cost when boredom is the thing actually driving the decision to abandon a working system. Multiplication can take a simpler form than most people expect. It is often not a dramatic reinvention of the system itself, but a patient repetition of the exact same proven motion, aimed at a slightly larger opportunity each time, with the accumulated trust from every previous repetition compounding quietly underneath it. Multiplication is less exciting than reinvention. It is also the only one of the two that actually compounds, because compounding requires continuity and reinvention deliberately breaks it. This is not an argument for never changing direction. It is an argument against confusing boredom with a genuine strategic reason to abandon something that is still working. Ask whether the current system has actually stopped producing or whether it has simply stopped feeling new. Those are two entirely different diagnoses, and only one of them justifies starting over. Step 7. Let the system run without you. The final step in this framework is not working harder inside the system you have built. It is deliberately engineering yourself out of the parts of it that still require your personal, hourly presence, so that what remains keeps producing whether you are actively present or not. 2 people reach this final stage with an equally successful system behind them. One continues personally showing up to every transaction, every decision, every moving part, mistaking their own indispensability for security. The other spends this stage deliberately building the processes, the people, and the structures that let the system continue exactly as well without their constant personal involvement. The first person has built an extremely demanding job for themselves, however profitable. The second person has built the actual thing this entire framework was aimed at from step 1. A system that produces wealth as a function of what it is, not as a function of how many hours its owner personally spends inside it. The uncomfortable test at this final stage is whether the system could survive a month of your total absence without meaningfully degrading. If the honest answer is no, the system is not yet finished, regardless of how much revenue it currently produces, because revenue that requires your constant personal presence was never the destination this framework was built to reach. This is the step Machiavelli's own princes rarely reached, because holding on to direct control felt safer than trusting a structure to run without them. It is also the only step where the framework stops being a set of instructions and starts being the actual outcome those instructions were always building toward. Letting go of the parts that still require your personal presence is the most counterintuitive step in the entire sequence, because every earlier step rewarded you directly for showing up, working harder, and staying personally involved. Step 7 asks you to reverse that instinct at the exact moment it has been most consistently reinforced, which is precisely why so few people ever actually complete it, even after building something that could support them doing so. This step is also where the entire framework's real purpose finally becomes visible. Every earlier step existed to produce something specific: capital, leverage, proximity, proof, and scale. Step 7 is where all 5 of those finally combine into the one thing this entire sequence was actually for: a system that keeps producing wealth on its own terms, independent of the single life that originally built it. None of these 7 steps work in isolation, and none of them work out of order. Step 1 manufactures the capital Step 2 needs. Step 2 manufactures the leverage Step 3 needs. Step 3 earns the proximity, Step 4 requires, which produces the proof Step 5 converts into access, which becomes the foundation Step 6 multiplies instead of abandoning, which finally becomes the structure Step 7 learns to release. Skip any single link, and every step built on top of it is standing on nothing. Go back through your own current situation honestly, not the situation you wish you were in, and locate exactly which link in this chain is currently missing. Not which step sounds most exciting, and not which step you already happen to be good at. The specific one, in order that the rest of the chain is currently waiting on. That single honest answer is worth more than every other piece of advice in this video combined, because it tells you exactly where to spend the next unit of effort instead of scattering it across steps the chain is not yet ready to support. If this gave you an actual sequence instead of another list of disconnected advice, then don't stop here, because what you've heard in this video is only the surface. There are deeper layers to psychology, influence, and wealth that simply can't be explored fully in one video. Not because they don't exist, but because most people aren't ready to hear them. That's why most stay average. If you're not one of them, then subscribe, because every video here is designed to sharpen your mindset, increase your value, and separate you from the crowd. No fluff, no noise, just strategy. Most people will watch this and move on. A few will stay and change. Decide which one you are.